Ladies, let me tell you something right now. When a man likes an older woman, oh, he don't act like he's playing games. Nah, he steps different. He talks different. He even walks different. Why? Because he knows he's dealing with a woman who knows herself. She's not 22 trying to figure out what kind of love she wants. She already knows. And that right there makes her magnetic to him. When a man truly likes an old woman, his energy changes. You start to notice something different about the way he carries himself around her. It's not just about attraction anymore. It's about admiration. It's about the way he looks at her like she's the answer to questions he didn't even know he had. When a man starts falling for an older woman, it brings out something deeper in him. He becomes more attentive, more present, more intentional. Because deep down, he knows she's not the kind of woman you approach casually. She's seasoned. She's lived. She's seen enough of life to know the difference between a man who's playing and a man who's serious. So if he's serious about her, he makes sure his actions match his intention. He doesn't waste time. He knows that games won't work, that saying the right things isn't enough. He's got to show up in real ways. It starts with how he speaks to her. His words are more thoughtful, more respectful, more grounded. He listens more, talks less. He pays attention to the little things, what she likes, how she drinks her coffee, what books she reads, how she lights up when she talks about her passions. He's not looking at her like a conquest. He's looking at her like inspiration. And it's not because she's older that he likes her. It's because of what her age represents. Growth, wisdom, stability, a sense of self that many younger women are still figuring out. You can always tell when a man likes an older woman because he starts upgrading his behavior. He becomes more consistent. No random texts at midnight, no days without checking in. He respects her time because he knows she has a life, responsibilities, standards. He doesn't try to dominate her world. He tries to fit into it with purpose. And when she gives him time, when she lets him in, he feels honored. That's what separates this from infatuation. He feels lucky just to be around her, to learn from her, to share space with someone who already knows who she is. He also becomes more emotionally open. A man who truly likes an older woman starts being more vulnerable. He talks about his fears, his dreams, his failures. He knows she won't judge him for not being perfect. If anything, he knows she respects honesty over ego. She's not impressed by bravado, she's impressed by truth. So he starts revealing himself in ways he might not with someone his own age. He wants her to see who he is beneath the surface, because for her, surface isn't enough. He realizes she's not looking for a spark. She's looking for a fire that can last. And so he's willing to go deeper, even if it scares him a little. When he's around her, he becomes more focused. She's like a mirror reflecting back the man he could be. Being with her motivates him. He wants to do better, be better, think sharper, live fuller. He looks at her and sees standards. She's not the type to beg for attention or chase validation. She's solid in herself. And that kind of energy, it challenges him, but in the best way. Because if he's the right kind of man, he welcomes the challenge. Logical principle, he doesn't run from it. He embraces it. He tries to rise to her level instead of pulling her down to his. He starts prioritizing quality time, not just hanging out, but real time, conversations that mean something. moments that create connection. He wants to hear her stories, understand her values, know what shaped her into the woman she is. And when she talks, he listens, like her words matter, because they do. She's lived long enough to carry knowledge, insight, clarity. That's gold to a man who he treasures that. He doesn't just want her body. He wants her mind, her experiences, her wisdom. And let's talk about affection. He's not afraid to be soft with her. He doesn't hold back affection thinking it makes him weak. He shows it. He says it. He makes her feel wanted and seen, because she's not asking for a boy who plays cool. She's asking for a man who shows up, a man who says, I see you, and proves it with actions. He'll compliment her in ways that go beyond the physical. I admire the way you think. I love how calm you are under pressure. You inspire me to be more grounded. These are things he starts saying because he's not just looking at her, he's learning from her. When a man likes an older woman, he begins to shift how he views relationships. It's not just about romance. It's about partnership. He starts thinking about long term. He pictures her in his life not just for today, but tomorrow and the day after. He talks about goals and includes her in them, not in a possessive way, but in a respectful, inclusive way. He makes plans, not promises. He shows commitment by showing up, not by sweet talking, because he knows that her love isn't given freely, it's earned. And he's willing to earn it because to him, she's worth the work. Even in his appearance, you see a change. He starts grooming differently, dressing a little sharper, standing taller, because being with her makes him want to be the best version of himself, not because she asked him to, but because she inspires that naturally. He starts making healthier choices, not just for her, but for the life he wants with her. That's real influence. That's what happens when a man sees a woman as a partner in growth, not just a passing romance. He also becomes more protective, not in a possessive way, but in a supportive way. He wants to make sure she's safe, happy, taken care of emotionally. He checks on her. He shows up for her. And when life gets hard for her, he's not running. He's right there saying, what do you need? I got you. Because he knows she's probably spent a lot of her life being strong. And if he really loves her, he doesn't want her to carry everything alone anymore. A man who likes an older woman doesn't try to change her. He doesn't shrink her. He celebrates her. He lets her lead when she needs to, and he leads when she needs to lean. It becomes a balanced dance. And through it all, he never forgets that she's a gift, not a prize, not a project, not a fantasy, a whole, beautiful, complete woman, one that he wants to protect, provide for, and partner with in the most meaningful way possible. When a man starts falling for an older woman, there's a noticeable shift in how he operates. His whole energy changes. He doesn't approach her with the same casualness he might have used before. There's something about her that demands a different level of presence, and he feels it the moment he starts catching feelings. She's not like the girls he's dated in the past. She carries herself with grace, with confidence, with experience, and that shakes something awake in him. All of a sudden, he finds himself wanting to step up. He doesn't even fully understand it at first, but he knows she's different, and because of that, he knows he has to be different too. He starts watching how he talks around her. No slick lines, no games, no vague promises. He realizes right away she's not impressed by charm. She's watching consistency. She's not entertained by words. She's measuring character. So he adjusts. He slows down. He becomes more intentional with everything. When he calls, when he texts, when he makes plans. It's all done with purpose. Not because he's trying to impress her, but because he respects her. And when a man respects a woman, especially when he's attracted to, he naturally rises. Her presence alone makes him want to be a better man. There's something magnetic about older women that younger ones often haven't fully developed yet. It's that quiet power, that calm, that ability to see through situations. She's already been through heartbreak. She's experienced loss, wins, failure, and healing. She doesn't panic. She doesn't beg. She doesn't need someone to complete her. She's already whole. And that wholeness is exactly what makes a man feel both intimidated and inspired. If he's the right kind of man, he won't run from that strength. He'll be drawn to it. He'll study it. He'll want to understand how she got that way, because deep down, he hopes that some of that strength might rub off on him too. When he likes her, you'll see it in the way he pays attention, not just to the big things, but to the small ones. The way she laughs when she's genuinely relaxed, the books on her nightstand, the way she handles conflict without blowing up. He notices. And because he notices, he adapts. He begins to match her rhythm, not just in behavior, but in mindset. He starts thinking about things differently, questioning himself more deeply. He becomes more self-aware because being around her forces him to look inward. And if he really cares, he won't just look, he'll grow. She's not trying to raise him. She's not looking to be someone's mother. But the truth is, her experience alone teaches him things, not because she lectures him, but because she lives it. She leads by example, and he watches that. He watches how she handles her money, how she protects her peace, how she doesn't chase chaos. And soon, he starts wanting those things for himself. He might not say it out loud, but internally, he's evolving. Emotionally, he becomes more expressive. He's not afraid to tell her how he feels. Maybe he used to keep things bottled up before, thinking vulnerability made him weak. But with her, it feels different. It feels safe. He realizes he doesn't have to perform for her. He can be real. And when a man feels safe being real with a woman, that's when he starts to bond deeply. He tells her about his childhood, his goals, his fears, his regrets. He lets her see the parts of him he usually hides, not because he's trying to win her over, but because he wants to build something real. And real things require truth. He starts acting with more direction. Where before he might have gone with the flow, now he moves with purpose. He makes decisions with her in mind. She becomes part of his world, not as an accessory, but as an equal. And that's rare. That's not infatuation, that's foundation. That's the sign that what he's feeling is bigger than chemistry. He's not looking to control or possess her. He wants to walk beside her, and that's exactly what she's looking for too. He starts talking about the future, not in vague hypotheticals, but in practical steps. He doesn't just say, I want to travel someday. He says, let's plan a trip for December. He doesn't just say, I want a stable life. He starts showing how he's building one. Because older women don't have time for potential without action. She's heard every dream before. Now she watches for effort. And when he's serious, he delivers. He backs up every word with movement. He shows progress, not perfection. And that's what earns her trust. You'll see it in how he introduces her to people. There's pride in his voice when he talks about her. He doesn't hide her. He brings her into his life. and he pays attention to how she feels in his world. He protects her space, not by isolating her, but by filtering out the noise. If someone disrespects her, he doesn't stay quiet. If she's uncomfortable, he notices. He becomes more aware, more grounded. Because when a man cares deeply for an older woman, he doesn't just love who she is, he also wants to protect what she stands for. He takes her advice seriously. She doesn't always offer it, but when she does, he listens. He might not always agree, but he considers it. He values her insight, not because she's older, but because she's wiser. She's been where he's going. She's navigated situations he's still figuring out. And he's humble enough to know that her experience could help him avoid some mistakes. That humility is key, because when a man sets ego aside in favor of learning, he grows 10 times faster. He becomes part of that growth, not by demanding it, but by simply being the example. And most importantly, he becomes more secure, not because she validates him constantly, but because she brings peace. He doesn't feel the need to compete, perform, or impress all the time. He can just be. And that space to be seen, accepted, and still challenged, that's what makes him fall even deeper. Because the truth is, it's not her age that got him. It's her essence. It's how she carries years with grace. It's how she knows what matters and what doesn't. It's how she makes him feel like a man, not because she praises him, but because she trusts him to grow into one. That kind of love makes a man better, not weaker, not smaller, better. And when he knows he's found that in an older woman, he'll do whatever it takes to hold on to her. When a man finds himself falling for an older woman, the way he behaves starts to shift in subtle yet powerful ways. It doesn't matter if he's usually smooth or guarded. Something about her makes him more alert, more aware of how he presents himself. An older woman carries herself with confidence. She walks into a room like she knows who she is and what she brings. That kind of energy forces a man to stop and think. If I want to get close to her, I can't come weak. She's not here to play. She's not looking to be impressed with cheap charm or shallow compliments. She's looking for presence, honesty, depth. And once he sees that, he starts adjusting, not in a performative way, but in a real way, because deep down he knows she's worth it. His conversations with her become more intentional. He's not just making small talk. He's trying to connect. He asks questions that go beyond surface level. He wants to know what she's passionate about, what she's been through, what she values. And when she speaks, he listens, really listens. Because there's wisdom in her words. She's lived life. And the way she sees the world is different from the women he's known before. He finds himself wanting to understand how she got that strength, how she kept her grace, how she learned to stand tall through it all. And that curiosity turns into admiration, and that admiration begins to shape how he sees her and how he sees himself. Around her, he starts to relax in a different way. She doesn't put pressure on him to be someone he's not, but at the same time, she holds him to a higher standard, simply by being herself. She doesn't demand respect. She evokes it. And he finds himself wanting to meet that standard, not because she asked, but because he sees what's possible with her. He starts becoming more responsible, more consistent. He follows through on what he says. He communicates more clearly. He becomes more thoughtful with his actions. Because he knows she's not going to chase him for effort. She's not going to beg for attention. If he wants her, he has to show her. She's not the type to play hard to get. She's just not easy to access emotionally. She has boundaries, she has expectations, and he sees that as refreshing. She doesn't waste time. She doesn't engage in drama. She's peaceful, and that peace becomes addictive. He wants to be around her because being around her feels like exhaling. No pretending, no proving, just being. And when a man gets a taste of that kind of calm, especially after dealing with confusion and chaos, he begins to crave it. He wants to protect it. He starts evaluating what in his life supports that peace and what disturbs it. And that includes his own behavior. He becomes more self-aware. The way he talks, the way he handles conflict, the way he shows up emotionally, he starts checking himself. Because she's not the kind of woman who's going to argue over nonsense. She'll call it out and move on. She knows her worth, and she knows when someone isn't honoring it. So if he wants to stay in her life, he realizes he has to grow. And if he's serious, he doesn't resist that growth. He leans into it, not out of pressure, but out of desire, because something about her brings out the man he's always wanted to be. He begins to express more. He tells her what he feels. He lets her into his world. Maybe he's not used to doing that. Maybe he's been guarded for most of his life. But with her, it feels safe. She doesn't ridicule his emotions. She doesn't use his vulnerability against him. She listens and she responds with kindness and clarity. And that creates a bond that's built on mutual respect. He doesn't feel like he's being judged. He feels like he's being understood. And that feeling opens him up even more. He stops caring about superficial things. He's not worried about who's watching or what people think. Being with her makes him feel grounded. His priorities shift. He starts thinking about longevity, about building, about stability, about legacy. She makes him think long term, and that's a new feeling. She doesn't need grand gestures. She values presence over performance. And he starts realizing that love isn't always loud. It's often quiet, steady, patient. It's in the way he makes her tea without being asked, in the way he remembers the names of her friends, and the way he shows up even when it's inconvenient. Even the way he touches her changes. It's not just desire, it's reverence. He appreciates her body, but more than that, he respects it. He respects what it's been through, how it moves, what it represents. He doesn't treat her like a fantasy. He treats her like a woman with layers. And every layer he discovers, he falls a little more. Not because she's trying to impress him, but because she's just real. She doesn't pretend to be perfect. She's honest about her scars, her past, her victories. And that kind of transparency is rare. He sees it and he values it. Over time, he starts realizing it's not her age that makes her attractive. It's her energy. It's her confidence. It's her softness combined with her strength. It's how she can hold him accountable and still make him feel safe. And the more he gets to know her, the more he realizes that being with her isn't just about romance, it's about evolution. She challenges him to rise, and he wants to rise, not for her approval, but for himself. Because for the first time in a long time, he sees what's possible when love is mature, grounded, and real. When a man begins to develop feelings for an older woman, the first shift you'll notice is in the way he starts showing up. His energy changes. He's no longer acting impulsively or aimlessly like he might have done before. He's more focused, more deliberate, because this isn't just attraction, this is admiration. It's not about youth, it's about what she carries inside her. The confidence, the wisdom, through the quiet strength that comes from having lived, having learned, and having grown through life's ups and downs. That kind of presence humbles a man. It draws him in and makes him rethink the way he's approached relationships before. He realizes that if he wants to be with a woman like her, he can't come the same way he's come with others. She demands more without saying a word. He starts watching his words more closely. He becomes more intentional with his time. He isn't playing guessing games or testing boundaries. He starts showing up early instead of late, starts planning instead of winging it. She makes him want to be better without forcing it, just her being who she is, challenges him in a healthy way. He becomes more responsible with his emotions. He realizes he can't be hot and cold with her because she's not going to tolerate inconsistency. She doesn't have time for it. She's seen enough to know what she wants and what she will not entertain. And that line right there, knowing she won't chase or beg for his attention, that's what shifts him into a different mode. He realizes that to keep her, he has to rise. Around her, he softens, not because he becomes weak, but because he feels safe. She's not impressed by games. She sees through masks. That's the thing about an older woman. She can read energy better than most. He knows he can't lie his way into her heart. She's watching what he does, not what he says. And because of that, he becomes more honest. He starts being open about things he never talked about with anyone else. He tells her about his fears, his past mistakes, his hopes, his struggles. And when he sees that she listens without judgment, that she holds space for him to be flawed and human, he falls even deeper because now he's not just attracted, he feels emotionally connected. That kind of connection doesn't come around often, and he knows it. He becomes more intentional with the future. He doesn't just make her part of his present, he includes her in his long-term vision. Not in vague, non-committal ways, but with real planning. He talks about what he wants to build, and he asks about her dreams too. He wants to grow with her, not around her. He respects the life she's built before him and wants to add to it, not control it. There's something powerful about watching a man make room for a woman's independence while still offering her stability and partnership. And when he sees how capable she is, how she's managed on her own, he doesn't feel threatened. He feels inspired. Being with her makes him evaluate himself. He starts thinking about his habits, his career, his character, not because she asked him to change, but because he sees in her a life that's well lived, and he wants to match that energy. He wants to be worthy of her time and attention. He starts making better choices, cutting off distractions, refocusing his energy. He doesn't feel like he needs to prove his manhood through dominance or control. He proves it through consistency, patience, and depth. He understands that with her, emotional intelligence is more attractive than swagger. When they're together, he's more present. He's not scrolling through his phone. He's not distracted. He's listening, engaging, remembering the things she says. He values her insight, asks for her opinion, learns from her experiences. She becomes more than a partner. She becomes a mentor in some ways. And he values that. He sees that she knows things he doesn't yet know. And instead of feeling insecure about that, he leans into it. He respects her leadership and he offers his in return. Together, they find a rhythm where both feel empowered and seen. He becomes more expressive. He compliments her not just on her appearance, but on her mind. her strength, her grace. He notices the way she handles challenges, the way she speaks with clarity, the way she moves with purpose. And the more he observes, the more deeply he falls, because now he's not just admiring a woman, he's respecting a woman. He begins to understand that what makes her beautiful isn't in her age or her appearance, it's in her assets. It's in the way she knows who she is. And the more he feels that, the more he wants to honor it. He's protective in the right ways, not possessive, not controlling, but loyal and supportive. He checks on her. He's emotionally available. He wants to make sure she's okay, not out of obligation, but out of care. He doesn't see her strength and assume she doesn't need anything. Instead, he sees her strength and still offers to lighten her load. He doesn't want to take over. He wants to walk beside her. And that's what she's been waiting for all along. Not someone to rescue her, not someone to lead her, but someone who sees her, respects her, and stands beside her as an equal. And when a man loves an older woman with that kind of depth and presence, it changes how he moves through the world. She becomes his standard for what real connection looks like. She shows him that love can be peaceful, powerful, passionate, and grounded all at once. And because of her, he will never settle for anything less again.